I'm Courtney, and I was adopted through Deaconess when I was about a month old. And I don't ever remember a time that my parents sat down and said, okay, here's the situation, you were adopted. They were just always really open with me about it. I have an older brother who was adopted through Deaconess also, and they were always open and supportive and told us whenever we had any questions that they would do the best they could to answer them for us. Whenever we were older and decided if we wanted to find our birth family, they were going to be there for us. And so I think that was the best thing for me and both my brother, just that we knew that we had our parents' support. And from the time that I was a baby, my biological mother's parents would send me gifts every Christmas and birthday, and then they would send letters in between that. And before I was young enough to write them back, my parents would write them back and say, oh, Courtney loves the pair of shoes you sent her, or whatever it was. And then when I was older and finally old enough to write, I wrote them back myself, and we just started building this relationship that we've had for now 21, almost 22 years, just because they were there from the moment that I left the hospitals. When I was about 13 years old, I got some pictures from my birth grandmother of the whole family, and it was a collage of aunts and uncles and cousins and my birth mother and half siblings and just the whole family. And she thought it would be helpful, but for me it really started, the wheels started turning. I have this whole other family out there that I don't know anything about. And when I was 16, my adopted dad passed away, and I think that was the point where I thought, okay, I really want to know who these people are. This is my family here. I have a mom and a dad and a brother, but I also have, this blood family where I came from. And so when I was a senior in high school, I was taking a gift for my birth grandparents up to Deaconess to drop it off, and the receptionist at the front desk, she adopted my half-brother. She said, well, we're going over to their house tonight, so we'll just take it to them. And at that moment I thought, oh my gosh, I got in the car and I told my mom I'd have to go with them. It was just this huge light bulb that went off that I was adopted through Deaconess, and my birth mother had another daughter that she kept, and then had another son that she put up through Deaconess. So all the grandkids knew my birth grandparents except for me. So we went back into Deaconess and talked to my half-brother's mom, and she was okay with it. And next thing I knew, I was on the phone with my birth grandmother asking her if I could come over to her house. So ever since that night, I went and I met them, and I met my half-brother and the rest of his family. And ever since then, my grandparents they were at every single basketball game. They were at my high school graduation. They were at my wedding. Been super involved, and it's just turned into a really great situation. And then last January, my grandparents got an email from my birth father, and the way that they knew each other was his parents and my birth grandparents went to church together, and that's how my birth dad and birth mom met. And he wanted to pursue a relationship with me and didn't really know where to start, but knew that I had a relationship with my grandparents. And he was on a plane, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks later, coming out to Oklahoma to meet me. And so now I have this relationship with him that I never dreamed of having. It has been such a good situation for me. I know some people aren't as fortunate as I am to have such a good story and such a good ending. I've never had any contact with my birth mother face-to-face or over the phone. She sends me cards and letters every once in a while, but I know that she did what was best for me, and luckily I am fortunate enough to be raised in a good family with a mom and a dad, and then have a whole other family that's my blood family.